Hey guys, I'm John Carrick, and today we are looking at Rocket Girl number 4 of 10. I did not look up when this was published in their process. It took Brandon Montclair and Amy Reeder about 5 years to do 10 issues because they had full-time art jobs. For Marvel, I believe. I think after the first couple of these came out, Marvel hired them and they were on a full-time series trying to do this at the same time. So that's not easy. That's not easy. Trying to live your dream and chase your dream at the same time. Ooh, that must have been hard. Would have been a lot nicer if Marvel had bought the series. But I think Marvel wisely did not, because this series has some issues. Some of the characters, when you create when you create a series, when you create a fictional universe for people, the characters are a huge part of it. How they interact with each other, and it defines the experience that you're going to create for your audience. So master the tools and then craft the experience. It's very, very important not just how what happens is described, but what happens. So this one, there's only 2 panels that I saw that anyone is in charge and sets any sort of goal and has any sort of direction. The rest of this is circumstantial reaction, but it's beautiful. And if these were the circumstances they had to create to draw this art, I'm down. So let's take a look. Rocket Girl number 4 from Image Comics by Brandon Montclair and Amy Reeder. (1986), the present. These two, they have a name for them that I don't remember. Hawk bikes, hawk cycles. These 2 hawk cycles from Quantum Mechanics have just arrived in 1986. To do something, it's not especially clear. Maybe to eliminate Dae Young and to make sure that Annie and Ryder get Dae Young's jetpack. I don't know. It's just beautiful. I just like looking at it. One of our upcoming series is absolutely going to be Danger Girl by J. Scott Campbell. Look at this. Look at this. Should be a cartoon. Hire some great writers to fix this and make this a cartoon. This can be fixed. This can absolutely be fixed between the comic book and the cartoon. It's worth it. I could fix it. I could fix the story, but it'd be a story I would love. Anyhow, these are the guys on the hawk cycles. Dae Young has to fight them. She blasts this dude in the face, and his friend says, "Did you see that?" "Yeah, I saw it." I don't want to turn the page. This is awesome. This bleeds over to here. I like that. This is 2013, the past. Right after Dae Young and her friend got in trouble. There's obviously some skipped scenes. The next few pages are my problem with this issue. This is like the problem in the second issue. I don't know who wrote these next few pages, but what these characters are about to do is out of place. It breaks the story, and it's a problem. So this is exactly like the problem with Annie and Ryder, only it's in the future. These teens are in a bar. The bartender asks for ID. This one wants a bourbon and slams it. And this is sort of like a hard-boiled-ish scene out of Sin City. It's beautiful. It's impeccably drawn and rendered. And it absolutely needs to be cut. Cutting artwork is way harder than cutting paragraphs of story. When I wrote my first novel. I wrote the second novel first, Legacy, The Legend of Ashley Fox, and then I had to write Legacy of a Mad Scientist to make The Legend of Ashley Fox possible. But when I was writing my first novel, The Legend of Ashley Fox, which is the second novel in the series, I started it as a comic book, and I quickly realized that it was going to be Akira in size and scope, and that my art skills were not up to par. So I bowed to the task of writing the novel, because I discovered that cutting paragraphs of words was a lot less painful than cutting pages of artwork. This one wants another drink, behaves like a drunken teen with a serious mission, and it's very strange. It's a very off-putting 4 pages. These 4 pages don't work. They're teenagers, and when the bartender asks for ID and she shows him her badge, she backs down, the bartender backs down, but they're still children. 2 shots of, and she orders bourbon. I don't drink bourbon or whiskey. I can't remember. I don't think I've had a shot in 15, 20, maybe 30 years. I don't think I've had a shot since I was in the Marine Corps. When I do drink, I have beers. I had some absinthe with my brother a couple times. But I think alcohol's the most dangerous drug in the world because it's deceptive. Lying to yourself is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Anyhow, the future is beautiful even when it rains. And I love this artwork. I'm intoxicated with this artwork. And the black and white art in the back, when the pencils are erased, I don't know if she does this digitally or by hand, but I love this a lot. I love how dirty the New York subway is. The next 4 pages make all the other bullshit. I would still cut those scenes. I would cut those characters. I would recast them. You're not firing any actors, so it's not a real problem. You're not hurting anyone's feelings. Just the writer and the artist. But look at this. There's so much potential here. I could risk hurting their feelings because it would improve the series that much. Those scenes, the last 4 pages and the 4 pages with Annie and Ryder in book 2, where they bully Dae-young and make her take a shower with them, are so retarded. They're so bad. They don't fit so much that it's bad WB. Bad television is not something to be emulated. I don't know why comic book writers rip off bad TV and call it good comics. This is incredible. I could just, and I think this page, now you need this page as a hard corner because really she's coming up against a wall. Although I don't know how trains, the track is not quite clear right here. Because she manages to pull to the side and turn, so the tracks do curve. There was some kind of hard wall right there. And now they're headed straight for the train's chasing them, I think. And look at the interior of this train, or they fly past it. It's on an opposing track, and they fly past it. This is some of the best comic book artwork I have ever seen in my life, without a doubt. I remember when someone had said that 100 Bullets needed to be dirtier because it was a gritty urban sort of comic. Man, this is what they meant. This is it. Look at the signs and the graffiti. This is fantastic. The other day I saw a piece of art where every bit of straw in a field was rendered, except for one little gap of a triangle. And it stood out. It stood out so badly. But this is just incredible. And this page too. These are this panel and this is it this panel? Yeah. This panel right here and this panel right here. This is the white doctor talking. He's not white, but the doctor with the white hair, the older guy. The older guy is in charge. He tells Annie to shut the hell up, that she's a student, and where has she been? And this is more of the same, of the bad, the ancillary characters. Dae-young's not even in the scene. If your main character's not in the scene, you need to cut it. That's a rule from novels. And it's a very hard rule to get to as a writer. I did not learn it with these two books. I am adhering to it religiously with my third novel. But my third novel features an ensemble hero group, so I'm able to stay with the main characters and still switch the main characters, but only show the heroes and never, there's a lot of scenes from the villain's point of view where it's basically exposition, where they lay out goals. And that's what this is. These are real goals being identified, and some exposition about why Dae-young and the Hawk Cycle riders are there to begin with. But this panel and this panel, those are the only two word balloons where anything technological is said and any real goals are laid out. In 4 issues, those are the only goals I've seen. And it took a new character who hasn't been seen since probably the first issue, to step forward and take charge. This is amazing artwork with terrible writing. I'm sorry, Brandon Montclair. I'm sure you're a really nice guy, and I'd love to get to know you. And if you think I'm a dick, please check out my novels, and I want to help. I'm out here to contribute. That's what I'm going to talk about today, is contribution. And finding your place in society, the community that is a society. We live in a society. This is Detective Ciccione. Again, here's a great scene. Here's a great scene with ancillary characters where everything is perfect. These guys are awesomely drawn and they add to the story. Again, no Dae-young. We don't need this scene. It should be cut. It should not be here. But it's beautiful and it's amazing and it looks incredible. Animating all these people is really difficult, but it's great to draw them in a comic book. I love Amy's artwork. I love her layouts. I love her composition. I love her facial expressions. I love everything about her. She should be doing Scooby-Doo cartoons. This guy comes to the conclusion, they are in the subway or somewhere near the subway. They're obviously on the street. This guy comes to the conclusion, after a little bit of questioning, he realizes these two are telling him some nonsense. And that they explained that they were there when she crash landed in Times Square. And that's another thing. Well, we'll get to that. Annie and Ryder have an apartment right off of Times Square. So, wow. I mean, it could have been Boston. What's wrong with Boston? What's wrong with Miami? You could do this comic book anywhere. This could be Acapulco, London, Rome, Shanghai, Tokyo. It doesn't matter. I mean, I get New York. I think Amy lives in Greenwich Village. I did read that. Amy Reeder lives in Greenwich Village, which is kind of like New York's Silver Lake. So, look, I'm writing my new stories about LA. So, I love my city. It is my city. Doing 3 novels here? Yeah, it's mine. And I own English too. That's a good thing about becoming a novelist, becoming an author. The author is the root word for authority. So, Dae-young still being chased. Look at all those pages. All these pages since the last time we saw her. 4 pages. Not good. I would much rather have had 4 pages of them just chasing each other. This reminds me of Trencher so much. It's a cartoon, and the comic goals are not clearly defined. Most Conan fights are a page or 2, and then he has to go somewhere. Conan is structured a lot like a Tomb Raider video game. You have to explore an area, dodge some traps, fight a guy, dodge some more traps, get the gold, and escape before it all collapses. And maybe fight a few more guys. This is kind of similar, only the goals are not so clearly laid out, but it's explore New York, fight some guys, explore New York, have some negotiations with the police, whatever. The ancillary characters are where this book fails. Dae-young and her enemies and the cops are magnificent. Magnificent. It's a great word. And I'm just going to leave this up for a little bit longer and hope it's in focus. And I saw yesterday that some of it was fuzzy. Apologies. You guys need to go out and buy these comics and read them at home. I'm hoping some of you are just turning this on for noise in the background while you draw or clean the house. That would be the best thing that I could aspire to with this channel. I would love to contribute in that way. Look at this. Look at this. It's not clear what happens. I think these guys die. I think these guys are about to get killed. Now, I've said over and over again that I hate inset panels and I hate canted panels. And this book has been one long series of inset canted panels. This book has thrown out gutters and borders the same way Todd McFarlane did, and I don't care. It works. If the art is good enough, it works. John Buscema, I don't think his artwork was never this kinetic. His artwork never had this level of look at this. This is moving on the page. I don't think I ever saw John Buscema do speed lines. I mean, did he? That's something I need to learn. I'm getting better with fabric, which is nice. I spent a good amount of time doing that the other day. And then it's just lighting, gradations of lighting. Now, here's the thing. This has no cross-hatching. This has no cross-hatching, and it's really stark when you see the black and white. They always include a couple pages of black and white at the end of the book. So here's what's happening. She pulls these guys off. There is a train right here. She sees that upward tunnel. This is a little bit like Luke Skywalker, right? The train hits these 2 bikes, and they're not with Dae-young when she blasts out into Grand Central Station. So those guys, maybe their armor protected them because it's a cartoon. Maybe they went into the train and they're inside the cab with the train. I don't know if anyone in the train survived that. That's jet fuel. You know they make jet fuel like a putty, like a jelly? She's strapped to jet fuel. I mean, I love her, but there is I was listening to Cliff High the other day. I studied Aikido for a while. I never got to this move. I think he says it's the higher end moves. It's the 4th Shino. There's a word for it. But anyhow, there's a throw where it's so dangerous that practicing it kills people because it rips apart the arteries and tendons connecting the shoulder and the collarbone. And that's the sort of forces Dae-Young's body would be up against. When Tom Cruise ejects out of Top Gun Maverick, he'd have been turned to paste. In the very beginning of the movie, he'd have been turned to red dust. So this is her falling to the ground, and this is the future where the commissioner, Robin from Dark Knight Returns, is talking smack to quantum mechanics, which is a really powerful corporation in the future. And because today's cover was bent, I used this page from the last comic, and I really love how this is a virgin cover, so I am going to use this page for tomorrow's book as well. And maybe I will look up when these were drawn and written and how far spaced apart they were. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm reading them one after the other. So the story needs to read right. The story needs to read correct. And it doesn't because you get these... A page is a minute. I don't want 4 minutes of this character in a bar in the future. Cut that shit. Give me 4 minutes of her doing anything. You have something great here and you're neglecting it. Neglect is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Look at this. This was a... fan art, it says. A Rocket Girl image by Della De Luca. How can I read that wrong? It's really good though. Shutter. Lilia De Luca. Del Duca. That's her name. This girl drew this. Kate Christopher. She's Peter Parker without spider powers. Indiana Jones for the 21st century, huh? Look at this. No cross-hatching. This is comic book, right? Not comic book. This is cartoon ready. And I didn't complain about the word balloons. I think Amy's doing the word balloons herself and not using Illustrator or an oval thing. I don't care. They weren't as bad as the word balloons in the book John Malin was looking at the other night. I think Todd did his own, and a lot of the text was poorly placed. I love this. They have a podcast. I is for inebriated. No. No. No, 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 no. Fire your colorist. Fire him now. Where's the blacks? I'll never read that book. This is how comics should look. This right here is how comics should look. This is one of the best comics I've ever read in my life. All the characters are in motion. All these people are moving. Even doing, like that's not an especially masculine expression, but no one's standing still. No one is standing still in this book. I didn't see one pose. I beat the shit out of these comics. This was here when I got it. That's why I didn't use it for the photo. All right, let's do the next bit. Hey guys, so today we were looking at Rocket Girl number 4. Again, the art is second to none. This is art on its own. When art gets this good, you don't compare it to other art. That's how good it is. Trencher was that good. Trencher was drawn that good, but Trencher suffered even worse story problems than this. And that's why we never got a Trencher cartoon. Cartoon is the highest level of compliment for a comic book, not a movie. Movies are okay. I mean, I get it for the normies, but a really good cartoon, Cowboy Bebop the movie, Cowboy Bebop was never even a comic. They just went straight to it. And look at how much that title suffered. All that series got, all Cowboy Bebop got was 2 seasons and a movie. And Shinichiro Watanabe got Samurai Champloo, which is also amazing. And Seba Jun passed away. He did the soundtrack for that. Today is brought to you by Legacy of a Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox, my science fiction fantasy novels. I'm doing my part to contribute, and that's what I want to talk about today. How to contribute. Today's conflicted card is the 5 of Diamonds. Gordon is named in this one as well. Gordon knows something about the end of the world, and what he knows, if he were to tell his neighbors to try and help them, would make them competitors for resources. So as Gordon, how much do you keep what you know to yourself so that you're not competing with your neighbors, and how much do you share with them and let them know how to get the X, Y, and Z? You know what? Everyone knows the end of the world is here, and there's nothing you can tell anyone to make them take any more preparations than they currently are, because the end of the world is happening every day for all of us on an individual level. And some of us, I have not saved for retirement, and it is very clear to me now that not only have I neglected fixing my eye, but I've neglected off-putting eating dog food or some other terrible tragedy. I've believed throughout my life that I would make it, and I haven't achieved that place of financial stability or security yet. In part because I gave my life to my work, and I don't regret this. When these came out in 2011 and 2013, there was no way for me to secure a publishing deal as a new young author, because the Kindle and ebook had just launched, and every author with a book in their back catalog was putting them out. So to hire an editor, and I mean hire, not to get one for free, at that point in time would have been incredibly expensive. And so I didn't have that kind of money. And if I had it now, I probably would do that, you know. But I also learned a lot about publishing. I learned what it means to be published and what it means for new authors. A lot of new authors have books that sit for 10 years before an editor is willing to read them. You know, you have to put out into the small press, short stories and that sort of thing. Here's my issue. It's not an issue. This is art. This is my art. I'm not Stephen King. I am not a guy who vomits word salad onto the page. I don't write WB episodes of television that are seen and instantly forgotten. I don't do Days of Our Lives, you know, that people watch for, you know, that's what this is. This is my version of that. If I were to write every day and put out stuff, put out soap opera, put out burning, you know, fireplace, essentially a fish tank, which is essentially what this is. When a person just talks, it's sort of just, I turn this stuff on while I draw. It's really good. I like it. It's fun for me. So if that's good for you, this is different. This is not that kind of writing. This is Les Miserables. Victor Hugo published Les Miserables when he was 70. I knew once I decided I wanted to be a writer really, really young, more than I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. The two sides of me have been fighting with each other between comics and the written word my entire life, and video games, because the goal is to contribute to society, right? And the best way you can contribute to people is to give them money. But if all you have is money and money getting, and it destroys your soul, then you really don't have anything to give. You're not giving from a place of prosperity and abundance. even me with nothing right now, giving you guys this is J.K. Rowling level. That's how good this is. So, if you're into fiction, I challenge you to tell me I'm wrong. Read a chapter, and if you don't like it, turn it off. But I know, for me, I'm not. How do I phrase this? This is my contribution. I'm so proud of this, and the one I'm doing right now is going to be even better. And I'm going to look into how to build media hype and frenzy and all that kind of stuff for a novel. And I don't know. I mean, video games are where it's at. So, and I'm working toward that too. I'm writing the novel while I save up money. Here's my goals, right? I need to save up money for a wood planer, which is only a couple $100, but I have some things I have to fix. I have some vehicle repairs to do first. That's this next paycheck. And then the wood planer to make rosary blocks. That's another paycheck away, so probably a month away, 2 weeks to a month. And then after that, once I have that and I have that going, I'll still be writing. I can write every day. That doesn't cost me anything. So I've been, behind the 8 ball with money for quite a while. So this is, it's a long process. And I'll keep writing. I wrote a chapter last night. It was good. It was very good. So I'm contributing. Do you know what? Does this make sense? Maybe I'm just trying to make it make sense to myself, since I'm only really talking to me. But contribution is everything. When you can't, as a kid, your contributions are seen as worthless. No one values your contributions. And your whole goal in life, to satisfy the ego, is to become someone whose contributions are seen as valuable by others. That is the greatest compliment. It's not praise that people want. They want their contributions to be seen as valuable. That's what people want. Sincerely seen as valuable. Now, I know that novels, while they can be huge, like Lord of the Rings, are generally not life-changing events for readers. Reading, however, is absolutely a life-changing event for personality. So people I'm saying the same things over and over and over again, but I feel like I'm working my way around a point that hasn't really revealed itself, even to me. Only that contribution is what matters. Contribution to the community. As an adult, when you get better at things and being able to contribute feels good. Being able to contribute in the arts would be fantastic. If I could make money that way and then use that money to help my friends and family buy homes for their kids, start their own businesses, all that kind of stuff. Exactly what Alex Hormozy is doing. I absolutely would. That would be fantastic. And I love this. I would be doing this. So, I would make Johnny the Homicidal Maniac cartoon, Rocket Girl the cartoon. There's room for all of this stuff. The world wants it right now. So that's my goal, is to have the animation studio with games. I want all of it. Video games, cartoons, comics, and novels. I don't care about movies. I absolutely do not care about movies. Video games and cartoons are where it's at for me. And then that gives you toys and merch and posters, and it's all, you're just printing panels from the comic on a t-shirt, So I am really excited about doing it. I'm really frustrated with myself. I have neglected a lot of things. A lot of things I can't fix. Mostly relationships. Because I felt I couldn't contribute. That's the point I've been working around that I want to say. My whole life, this is going to be emotional. I have felt that my contributions were not valued for a lot of reasons. Mostly I don't have the money to contribute to anything right now. All I have is my artistic effort. So until I can make money with that, I can't make meaningful contributions. And that's what I want more than anything, is to make meaningful contributions to my friends and family, to my community. And right now, the only way to do that is to kind of ask for a favor. I'm giving this away, but it's also a huge favor. So how do you explain, like, is reading Lord of the Rings, are you doing Tolkien a favor? Someone had to do him a favor in order for that to be... Now, he was in a position where he'd earned that, being a linguistics professor at Oxford. People said, yeah, sure, I'll read your book. I'm not that. I've neglected everything to do this. And so I am out here humbly requesting the eyes and ears of strangers who are into fiction to check this out. John Grisham had to sell his novels in the mall. So he was doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. He was out selling his... And he had a law degree. So, you know, I only went to animation school and then worked as a television editor. So what do you tell your friends? This is it. We are all competing for resources for the end of the world, because the end of the world is your retirement. The end of the world is when your medical problems, no matter how healthy you think you are, they start to crop up. Your beard gets gray. You start to lose your vision. Some of it you can offset and some of it you can't. Some people catch cancer in time and some people don't. Angie O was 24. I have a cousin who overdosed. I have friends who are dead. So find a way to contribute that lets you sleep at night. I'm so glad with the chapter I wrote last night. I'm going to probably draw while this is uploading, and I've skipped my workouts for a few days now, which is bad, but it is what it is. I've spent a lot of time with the weights. I can afford to skip a day or two. I just want to give to you guys. That's all I want. See you tomorrow.